Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Sociology Newscast. I am your host Austin Bowe and I am with my co-host Evan Bruns. Today we'll be doing a special program today for all you folks at home. Evan and I will be doing a special segment on topics that are so common in today's society and how it relates to each of us individually. For those who are unaware about our new show, Mr. Bruns and I are sociologist scientists, so we are able to talk about our own portion of the show about the thoughts and ideas and everything you need to know about this recently trending news. If you are unfamiliar with the term sociology, it is essentially the study of people and their interactions with others through social norms, lifestyles, and behaviors. There are many factors that play into sociology as it deals with the human mind and how we, as a society, understand and create rules and laws around us in order to govern ourselves. This can play into the part with many sociological factors, such as the idea of race, gender, or government, and that they are merely a creation created by humans in order to set a rule down within society. With that out of the way, Ms. Bruns will be covering today's part of the sociological impact of government and law, while I'll be doing race and gender. Do you want to go ahead and start your segment first, Mr. Bruns?
Thank you, Austin. Although it may seem as if the government is a standardized unit around the world, it most certainly is a social construct. We can consider the government to be a social construct because there are several different types of governments. For instance, ancient Greeks followed a model of aristocracy, which is a model of government run by a few small elite members of society. They made all the decisions and created all the laws in their society. However, that system is not standardized around the world, and easy examples are our own country, the United States. There are 20 million government employees in the United States, and several thousand of those can actually influence the law. There exist dozens of other systems, including communism, socialism, an oligarchy, theocracy, dictatorship, and plenty more. These are all demonstrative of the fact that, depending on where you live, your government can change. There also exist places on this planet where modern human civilization has not modernized. These civilizations often follow ritual and religious societies and sometimes don't have a very set structure of government. Plus, that's not to mention that government can be viewed as a social construct based on your opinion of government member or regulation. This ties directly into another social construction, law. Law is related to government in the fact that a government creates laws. They are also similar because both law and government are social constructs. Depending on where you live, your perception of the law, as well as the laws that apply to you, may be different. For instance, if you live in the United States, drugs are illegal and you will be punished with a formal sanction. However, in certain countries, such as Portugal, drug possession is not a crime. In fact, the Portuguese law has a system set in place to aid those who turn to drugs, rather than formally sanctioning them. This is just one instance of how your place or geographical location can influence the rule of the law. One instance of how time can change the law you're required to follow could be prohibition laws in the U.S. For instance, if you lived in the exact same geographical location but 100 years ago, producing, manufacturing, and transporting alcohol would have been illegal under the 18th Amendment. However, nowadays, this amendment is not in place, and these actions are not permitted. So, depending on where you live and when you are alive in history, the way the laws affect you may be different. Well, that's it for me regarding government and the law. Mr. Vo, thank you for letting me speak on government and law. I'd love to hear from you now about race and government.
Thank you, Mr. Bruns, for the coverage and topics of government and law. That was really unique how different in-depth governments and laws around the world can change your formal sanctions based on your geographical location and time. So now, I'll be taking over Mr. Bruns' portion and we'll be switching over to a new set of topics, which will be race and gender. Race refers to the physical differences that groups and cultures consider socially significant in how other people see you and categorize you based on your physical appearance and input characteristics on you. Today's society definition of race can be quite confusing to some people as this does not relate to ethnicity, as it is more of a shared culture such as language, ancestry, practices, beliefs, cultural expression, and identification, which does not equal race. You can have a different ethnicity that's completely unique to you, which separates you and your race that you are stratified to. The creation of race can be sent back to the creation of slavery, where the groups like whites have taken over and cast out blacks to be the inferior race and to work for them. Race as a whole is not a genetic factor that's encoded in our DNA, and that we are a certain race. However, it is a major discussion of racism in the United States, such as the inequality of jobs for minority groups like blacks in today's society. It is especially important to understand that we as humans are so similar to one another in DNA. However, inequality is present in the US, such as not having an opportunity at jobs, education, or even housing because of the physical features of a person's skin. Because of this, we must strive to remove any bias as time goes on in today's world. Transitioning over to another similar topic with today's group is gender. Gender is a socially constructed and culturally defined notions of masculinity and femininity. In today's society, gender is often seen to be a fixed idea with actions, attitudes, or roles being considered as the defining feature of that gender from the beginning of time. However, in reality, it is rather a social construct created by society to give a social role to each of those characteristics or actions they do. These social roles and relationships between male and female are contextual based and can change according to circumstances through different periods and social contexts. There are also many different types of genders that people can be classified, such as two-spirit or transgender, in which their gender identity can be whatever they prefer as.
Thank you, Mr. Vo, for the information regarding race and gender and how social context and time can play a big part on the terms of race and gender. And thank you, folks, for tuning into our sociology newscast today. We hope you enjoyed our special program about social constructs and how basic ideas like government, race, law, gender are actually ideas that are not necessarily natural in our society, even though they are commonly perceived that way. Tune in tomorrow for another special episode of our newscast. Have a great day, everyone.